All right, hi everyone, how are we doing? All right, it is the afternoon and we are set for some software discussions. Now, who is excited about software? Like, let's go. Yes, all of us. The answer would be all of us. You would not be in this room this afternoon if software was not something that would light a fire in your soul. Okay, so we see you, we respect that. So, again, I'm Sarah Hay. We've gotten to spend quite a bit of time together if you've been in any of the sessions up to this point. But I just kind of want to walk through what this is going to look like and then introduce to you my friend Jonathan. So today our goal is to walk through some of the softwares that we like and we trust and just present them to you as options. One of the most common questions that we get at Bob Clements International is, what softwares do you recommend and do they pay you? Okay, those are the questions that we get. Who do you recommend and do they pay you? Jonathan, have you ever paid us a penny?
I have not, absolutely
not. A penny. Okay, there you heard it right there. All right. So we do not actually accept payment from software companies. We recommend them because we like them and we trust them and we think they're right for your businesses. So with that being said, today what we're trying to do is just put a light on 4 of them that we like. Every dealership is a little bit different and your needs for software are different, and so we want to bring 4 different options that may be right for your dealership to the table. Now, how we're going to do this today is we're just going to have a lighthearted little fireside chat up here. I've got 6 questions that we're going to run through, and some of them are a little intense, Jonathan. These are the questions that the people want to know, okay? These are the questions people want to know. But I will say I did give every software company the same questions before we got started, and there are no questions on your stance on vaccination and no questions on your political leaning and who you think will be running for president next year. So just so we're all setting the stage, none of those questions will be asked. And you're probably thankful for that, right?
Oh, very thankful.
Okay, great. All right, we're on this thing. We may ask for dad jokes later, but that'll come later. No, we won't ask, don't worry about it, it's fine. All right, so with that being said, I want to introduce you my friend Jonathan. He is with a business management system called BlackPurl. We got introduced to you a few years ago, I think, and you have done a phenomenal job of, you and your team, creating a very user-friendly business management software. And over the last year or so, you have done a great job, as Jeff from our team and I have walked alongside you and your team to say, what is it that dealers are really wanting and needing in their software? So we're going to get into that all in just a minute, but do you want to give us a quick 30,000-foot view about your software and what it is you guys do?
Absolutely, thank you so much. I'd be happy to do that. So again, my name is Jonathan Aguero. What we do at BlackPurl is we believe that dealers want simple, easy solutions. Just like good power tools are reliable, consistent, and simple, we believe that's how software should be. The systems that you use to organize your business, keep your customer records, your work orders, all of that. We aim to make that process of keeping your dealership organized as simple and flexible as humanly possible. So with that, we've got this online. It's a web-based platform. You can access it from a Mac, a PC, a tablet, whatever you want. And its goal is to make it really simple to take care of customers and give them a great experience.
The real question is, can you even use it from an Android? Sorry, Android users, that's the worst.
You can. Being an Android user for 1 more month.
I make better choices, Jonathan. It's fine. All right, so let's dive into our questions here together. The first question I have for you is a 2-part question, so prepare your heart. What does the ideal dealership look like for you? And then I want you to tell me about the type of dealers who have been good at implementing your software, but on the flip side of that, I want to know who has not been the ideal dealer for you. So tell us who it is, but also tell us who is not your ideal dealer.
I'd be happy to. At BlackPurl, the software is really scalable, which means that you can be a 1-person service shop and use it. You could be a 15-user, big, bustling dealership and use it, and it would make your life simpler in either case. Our sweet spot is really those dealerships that have, say, in those operations between 3 and 15 employees. And a key thing about that is, on the flip side, yes, who are we really successful with? People love BlackPurl simplicity. When you get to be sort of a big multi-location dealership, sometimes you need some of the advanced accounting functionality that we'll be bringing out in about a year for our multi-store update. So right now, the sort of dealers that have to use workarounds are those dealers who have, say, more than 2 locations. And so on average, our sweet spot's really going to be that smaller to medium-sized operation. Although, as part of our subscription model, we're coming out with updates every month, as you mentioned. The one that just came out this week and the one that'll be coming out in a few weeks is one that Jeff and you guys requested. We're always growing, but right now that's the sweet spot. You know, the big thing is we want to work with people, and we love working with people. It seems to be the sweet spot who really want to make process easier. Here all the time, I'm not maximizing my current process. We help make that easy. So a lot of the people we get are those who are coming from no system, because BlackPurl is so easy to set up and use and to keep a business organized with. But we also have a lot of people who have a process that's not working. So that's sort of our ideal customer is either someone who has no system or someone whose existing process, they really aren't maxing it out, and they just need to make a move to maximize it.
So can you expand on that for just a second? When you say they have a process that's not working, what kind of process is not working do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a couple of good examples. Some people aren't keeping, just say similar things. Like they're not keeping their inventory up to date. They're not counting with the frequency they should be. Or maybe they want to track technician time to understand what's their true cost, all this labor that they're selling, and they want to make that easier. So a simpler technician tracking, for instance, is going to make it easier to track what your true costs are and enable it.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about your ideal dealer or the dealer who would not be ideal for you?
Yeah, you know what? Really, anyone who has a small to medium-sized dealership needs and doesn't have anything out of the ordinary. You know, so our e-commerce integrations, for instance, we're the first dealership platform in the world to offer integration with Shopify, the world's most popular e-commerce platform. But if you have a really extensive eBay store, we run a processor, you're doing a whole bunch of parts business that's not brick and mortar, that's always something to consider. But our sweet spot really is 3 to 15 employees, standard dealership, service operation. We love them.
Perfect. All right, thank you. All right, so the next question we have is, as you look at your software, in your opinion, what is the one most powerful feature?
Absolutely. I love talking about this one. And you know, it was hard to think about. I'm sure everyone's going to say that. But BlackPurl's customer order, I'm going to display it for you guys in brief here. This is maybe a little bit zoomed out for us. But BlackPurl's customer order is an easy way of, you know, knowing, okay, what service are we selling? What's our labor codes? What parts are we putting on? What fees? If we're on a part sale, what part numbers are we selling? You know, this process of actually writing up a customer, invoicing a customer, that sort of thing. This process, we aim to make it as simple as humanly possible and make it really consistent between the departments. So if you learned the parts department, the idea is that, hey, you can go over and now you know half your job for service. And so we've had stories of dealers who, because of the simplicity of our customer order process, we didn't notice we're on a customer order and not a work order or repair order. That's on purpose. That's because in BlackPurl, if you wanted to, just like the screenshot right here, have a service job, and you wanted to, let's say someone brings in their unit for service, but they also want to buy this random part. Man, you can have both of those, like same number, same transaction. It's just easier to see what you want. A third scenario that really helps your team accomplish the right outcomes for your customers in a quick way is the fact that, oh, there we go, there's a scenario, is if we have a unit, let's just say it's a mower in this case, we want to put some sort of accessory on it, and then there's going to be some labor to install that accessory. The way the customer order is set up with a simple tile system, and the fact that it's sort of the same as uniform for every different transaction type, it's easy to learn, and it's easier than any other system I've seen to put on accessories, right? It's what it's going to do right after this. It's got a unit deal tile. It's just going to pop up with a service job as soon as you commit those options. And it's going to be right on the same place. So you can see it, service team can see both right in the same place.
Very good. So as you have customers utilizing this, what is the feedback you get from this specific feature?
Yeah, this specific feature, what I hear is that it's very fast to get the right things sold, and it's easy to train new team members on. There was one dealership, a smaller dealership, who the first time, and this is a story secondhand from my boss, he told me this. So Keith O'Brien, our COO, one of the co-founders of the company, he went into this small dealership, and the first time he was in there, he was talking to them. He's interviewing all of the people. And he interviewed a parts counter person, and they're like, oh, I don't help out in service. I don't do what they do. And similar stories throughout the departments. When he came back, maybe say 6 months later, I didn't get the exact time frame, they said, oh yeah, we lost so-and-so on our team. We have to replace them, because now we can all fill in for each other. And so that was one of the pieces of feedback, is that it was not only faster to get started on, but it was more flexible. You could take care of the customer with your team in general easier.
Yeah, very good. You know, I think one of the things when you first showed us BlackPurl, we have a lot of software companies who say, can we show you our product? Can we show you our product? And we always say that we'll look at it. But one of the things that I liked most when you showed it was it felt very Google-esque to me, where someone could get up and going really quickly. And to your point, that interconnectivity is very handy.
Yeah, thanks. You know, we have two goals. One of them is to be the most connected platform. And of course, you know, hey, bring it on, right? We want to be the most connected platform. The other one is we want to be the simplest to use. And you mentioned Google and Apple, and that's really interesting because I sometimes would tell people, we take a page, as you'll see in the full demo, more out of Google and Apple's book than Windows 95's book. So we want to make it really easy to guide a user through what would otherwise be a complex task, instead of making you discern from, you know, 100 fields on one page.
Very good. All right, so the next question, and again, we're going through these pretty fast because we want to give you some time for a demo in just a few minutes. But let's say a dealer implements your software. And can we all agree, as a group here, implementation of software is something that maybe gives you night sweats? You go, oh, that feels like a little bit stressful. Okay, so let's say a dealer goes through the process of implementing software. What does that setup process look like? Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. So with BlackPurl, it's a 4-week guided setup. Okay. The big thing is there's no IT cost. You don't need to buy a server. You don't need to buy our printers. BlackPurl's designed, I mean, there's one exception, a label printer, about $150. But in general, you can use any equipment you have because you can log on from anywhere. You know, your dealership, your home, wherever, from a Mac, PC, a tablet. There's nothing to buy.
Android.
And even Android in my sad case. It's really good. So the bottom line is you don't need any big upfront costs, right? BlackPurl has no upfront costs. So one of the key things that's different between us and anyone else, no setup fee, no long-term commitment. It's just a new model. And the setup process is going to really have a few key steps, 5 key steps. First one, you sign up to get an online proposal, sort of like an Amazon checkout or something. You just put in your card and that begins your subscription. Second step, you're going to be invited to fill out your dealer profile where you confirm your logo and other similar things. Thirdly, you're going to have a kickoff meeting with your launch guide. And that's really where the hard part stops, right? It's just signing up. Because you have a launch guide that walks you all the way through the rest of your guided 4-week process. And this guided 4-week process, they're going to walk you through what data do we need from you to get you live. We're going to walk you through a 2-hour course per department for basic training for your team. It's an online course, right? And then what you're going to see is that in addition to this 2-week course, you're going to have your more complex scenario training afterward with your launch guide. So the same person who helps you put in your data, knows your dealership, walks you through your complex scenario training. Once you're done, you're doing business. Some people that's week 2, some people that's the end of the week 4, but it all depends on your situation.
Okay. You know, and as we talk about implementation of business management system and dealer management system in general, I just want to put this out here to the group that if we're in a place where we're ready to make a change with business management system, now is the time to do this and go through the training. The time is not to make the decision in February and be like, let's go. Like, no, that is a terrible decision and you will have a whole other level of stress on your shoulders. So if we're in a place where we're saying, let's go through training, and you're saying it's going to take 4 weeks to go from making the decision to be up and running, the 4 weeks to do it is not the beginning of February and saying, let's hope season holds off until mid-March. Like, that's not the strategy. Can we all agree? Not the strategy we're going to do. And so, anyways, as we're talking through this, 4 weeks though, I mean, at this point, how far booked ahead are you to get people up and going? Is there any wait time with that right now?
Yeah, we try to be a little flexible, but barring sort of extenuating circumstances, right now our queue, even though we're constantly adding people, is out into mid-November. I think it's the 3rd week of November right now before you can even get started in earnest. So my suggestion is definitely along the lines of what you said. Obviously don't wait until right before season. But definitely also don't plan to do it the 1st week in January unless you decide now. Because the 1st week in January is the most popular slot, and that fills up really quickly.
That's very helpful to know. All right, so let's say that we're in a situation, Jonathan, where we are trained as owners and managers, and we're really excited about this, and then in a world that doesn't happen here very often, we lose some of our key employees as season gets ready to start. Oh, too soon, Sarah, too soon. And we have to replace an employee. So if we've gone through the training, what does the training training look like for when we bring new employees on? Do we do a solid hang in there training, or do you have a plan for that?
We do, fortunately. I mean, you know, it's one of those things, you do lose people, and with BlackPurl, what we call BlackPurl Academy, these are online courses through Udemy, it's just an online course provider. And it's a 2-hour course, like 2 hours for the parts department, 2 hours for the service, sales departments each. The nice thing about it is with the videos and the quizzes, it can teach you the basics faster than a human could. So that's the first thing I do is if I get a new employee, I put them through the BlackPurl Academy. And then I arrange, we've got special accounts managers, so all you have to do is request training anytime. We'll be happy to do a refresher for your group.
Okay. And is there an additional investment when you need to utilize the special accounts manager for training?
Oh, no, good question. You know, I'm sure someday there will be some sort of guidelines around it, but so far it's just, no one's used it, so it's all free. You know, our model, Sarah, we don't like to charge for a lot of extra things. You know, our sister company, Dealer, is a traditional DMS, traditional old big software. They charge for everything. At BlackPurl, we try to just have one number that covers everything.
Very good. All right, so the next question I have for you, Jonathan, is tell us about a dealer who's fully utilizing your software. What is one thing that they're doing that no one else is?
It's a great question. So Spartan NTX in Dallas, Texas. They used to be Spartan ZTR, by the way, I have a typo. Changed their name. They are Spartan Mower dealership, of course. And one of the things that's unique is they take advantage of BlackPurl's best-in-class QuickBooks Online integration. So one of the key questions that they have that everyone has is, how are we going to do accounting? Are we going to, you know, do we need to learn your proprietary system where we have to train an accountant on it? Are we going to have someone in-house? Are we going to use QuickBooks Desktop? A lot of dealers, of course, in this business do that. And one of the big things about BlackPurl is that it pushes over not only accounting instantly and in real time as you're going throughout your day to QuickBooks Online, but it also syncs up like your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, and it does all of these things with line item level detail. So if I'm looking at a profit and loss statement in QuickBooks Online, which I can do from anywhere. So let's say I'm at my cabin in the mountains, which I don't yet have. Let's say I'm there, and I want to ruin my time by looking at a profit and loss statement.
Unless it's really good, and then you would be spending your time really well.
I keep, you know, vainly looking. Yes, probably would. And so I'm going to look at my profit and loss statement. Then what I'm going to do is if I wanted to go into, say, part sales or labor sales, you know, one of my GLs in my, I can click into it and I'm going to see line item level detail. I'm not aware of any integration that offers that. The other key thing is they are able to, this is a big thing, our support tickets went way down. This is a thing most other systems still don't have. The ability with the QuickBooks Online integration to reverse the transaction. So it's a smooth, seamless, transparent integration with the world's most popular accounting systems. And for them, that's saving them a lot of money on expensive bookkeepers.
Very good. And I'm going to ask kind of the same question I did just a minute ago, but is there an additional investment for that integration, or is that covered under your one cost?
Good question. That, along with our other integrations like Shopify, DP360, CRM, are all included.
Very good.
Thanks.
Very good. And then what does it take for a dealer to move their QuickBooks that they currently are using into that integration?
Man, that's a good one because
I'm full of good questions, Jonathan. Let's go.
no, clearly. It's almost like you know this industry. Now, when it comes to your question, could you repeat it? Because
Yeah. So when a dealer says we're going to go ahead and hook up our QuickBooks
How
to
easy
it,
is it?
yeah, what does that process look like?
oh man, it's so easy. So this is the thing that I love is a team member of mine called up QuickBooks Online 2 weeks ago, and they said, "How hard is it? Truly, your objective, okay, how many minutes?" They said it takes 10 minutes. We at QuickBooks will transfer from your desktop to your online. It takes 10 minutes, and it's very easy. Once you're there, our launch guide walks you through the process of just hitting add account. You have BlackPurl's email address, and then they're connected. It's the simplest. It's simpler than I thought it would be.
Well, and you know what, when we talk about accounting, nothing's very simple. So we'll take anything we can call simple, won't we? All right.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so the next thing, Jonathan, that we want to do, and we want to give a little bit of time for questions still at the end of this as well.
Great.
But I want you to give us a 10-minute demo of your software. And I just want to be clear, have you ever given just a 10-minute demo of your software before?
Oh, maybe once.
Okay, maybe once. So what we're asking you to do right now is like a Herculean effort. Would you agree?
I would agree.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and get that switched over for us? You're going to pull that up on your computer. But I would just say, as we are sitting here and getting this switched over for you to have a quick demo of this, there's going to be a few things that happen here. Number one, I'm going to set a timer. Yes, that's right. We're going to not have any, unfortunately, Oscar dance-off music, but we should. But here's the thing. We want to make sure that as you look at these different softwares, you have a really good cohesive view and a apples-to-apples comparison of all of them. And so every single one is just going to have 10 minutes for a demo. If you want to have more conversations and have a more in-depth demo after this, I would encourage you to go to Jonathan's booth, and I know he and his team would love to do more of an in-depth demo for you. The other thing to keep in mind is that this is the first one of these that we've done, so let's be gracious if we have some internet connectivity issues here. I know everybody has come up with a backup plan for their backup plan, but we are excited to see this demo of BlackPurl.
Absolutely. So now the one thing, Sarah, that I want to ask, can I get a show of hands? How many people in the back can clearly read what's happening there? Okay, that is a no. So it sounds like what I'm going to need to do, people have asked if this is from the state. I'm from Colorado, and I don't think it is. I just saw it online.
About that.
Let's try. Is there a particular recommended resolution, Sarah or Jeff? No.
It may be better with the lights down.
Okay, great. Yeah. So here's what I'll share. Is I wonder, do you think we can turn? Would you mind if I touch the focusing ring?
Let's the.
Oh, great.
Or perfect.
Yeah, because I think if we could just, if it was. I'll zoom in as much as I can, but we want to make sure that we can see.
There we go, guys.
Okay, guys. So yeah, it may be it feels a little blurry to me, but you'll certainly get the idea here. The great thing about BlackPurl is that if you can access the internet, you can access BlackPurl. So what you'll see here is that I've got a browser open. In fact, I've got two BlackPurls. I'm going to close one of them. I've got a browser open, and the big thing with BlackPurl is that it's designed from the start to be simple and scalable and very easy to learn. It's touch friendly, which means that today I'm on a Windows 10 computer. If you go to the BlackPurl booth 2008, you're going to see it's being demoed on a Mac, right? You can use, half our team uses Macs, half our team uses Windows. You can use anything all the way on down to the lowly Android, and it's really easy to get around. You've got a navigation bar with your common dealership tasks: selling, ordering, scheduling, and reporting are your key dealership tasks. Over on the right-hand side, you'll have a plus button, and this plus button allows you to quickly and easily add new things into the system. Again, this is gonna, you're gonna recognize this as a very, again, take it more out of Google and Apple's design book than Windows 95. When I go to the universal search bar, this is one of the features I spend a few of my precious moments on, because in this particular case, it is the epitome of BlackPurl design philosophy. The idea is, instead of giving you 10 places to look for things, give you one place to look for things. When you open a consumer app on your phone or your computer, you expect it to be intuitive and pretty self-explanatory as to how to do things. With BlackPurl, we want to take that same philosophy. So if I were to type, say, my telephone number in here, Colorado number, it's going to come up with Jonathan Aguero, my record, right? In fact, through demonstrations, our team has used my phone number on a lot of people, so we bring them all up, right? If I were to click in, it would show me service history, the units I own, active jobs, anything I'm going to need to give a person on the phone a quick answer, maybe 15 seconds, instead of digging through a filing cabinet or something else. If I want to look for something extra or different, is the word I'm looking for, maybe say a part, I type in a part number or scan a part number, and it tells me, it's a wheel bearing. That's from example vendor. There's 112 in bin 2. I can type in a serial number. I can type in a vendor. I can even use filters. I can type customer order, and that's a filter. Now I can just type particular customer order number I want to reference. So the idea is we want to get you from any screen in this app the ability to see whatever you want in fewer than 15 seconds. If I want to sell something, BlackPurl, it's extremely fast. I hit the sell button, and then it walks me through. Keep in mind this is touch friendly. So some people talk about fast food restaurants and how as fast food restaurants, certain ones have like all these valedictorian teenagers in the drive-thru with tablets, and they're giving you a really good experience, right? Sometimes dealers ask, hey, can we do that? And the answer is yes. Anything you're seeing here that I'm doing can be done on a tablet. There's a few detailed settings areas you might not be able to get to, but in general, it's all accessible. From my part sale title, I scan my part in, or maybe I use a particular code here, particular part number, particular description, type in gasket, spark plug, whatever, and I add it to my parts title. It's ready to scan another part. This time I'll use a description, spark plug. As I add these on, I can easily change my quantity. Let's just say I want to sell a certain number of them. If I'm an old keyboard person, I can hit tab to go between fields. If I'm an iPad person, I just use my finger. If I'm a mouse person, I click. Once I've got all of my items together, then I can see over on the right-hand side in my checkout box, my customer order number, 4336. So this thing saves as you go. My whole computer falls in the ocean right now, then I can pull this up on my iPad with just this customer order number. In addition, if my username allows me to see profitability, like what costs, gross margins are, then I can easily click this profitability icon, and it's going to come up with, I don't think you can probably read it in the back, but starting left to right, it's going to tell you what's the line item type. It says parts. The next one, it says sales. That's my income. The next one, it says costs, $25. Then it shows me my gross profit and my gross profit percentage. So the key thing is anytime a manager needs to make a management decision or an ownership decision or certain staff members, they can use that information on the fly, whether it's a part sale, a service job, or a unit sale. When I'm done, I just hit the checkout box. So I just put my line items on, then I hit checkout. Let's say I ask the customer how you paying, they throw a 50 down, I hit add payment. It'll then, in point of sale style, give you how much changes. You're going to see in the green, change to is 468. Then I get to ask the customer, hey, printed invoice or emailed invoice? And I love Tractor Supply Company, but I was there buying a go-kart for my kids a few weeks ago. And they asked me, hey, would you rather printed receipt or emailed one? I said, email, please. They said, okay, thank you, and they hand me a receipt, right? I don't really care that I had to throw away the receipt. But I said, oh, okay, thanks. They're like, oh, yeah, it prints anyway. Those little nuances make a big difference in the customer experience, and we've spent a lot of time to make sure this is a very smooth experience. When I hit finalize checkout, all of my accounting entries go over instantly in real time. So if I look at my profit and loss statement, looks like that got changed back. You can see I have multiple brandings I'm allowed to do. I can print out a gift receipt or an invoice. Anything I can print, I can email. Customized for my operation. So I got to ask you, how many people thought that was easy? I'm curious, truly. How many people thought that was easy? I'm seeing a lot of hands. The goal here, different industry, but I went over to a buddy of mine's place. He runs an RV dealership in Colorado Springs, and I set my laptop down on his desk, and I said, hey, Tim, try to sell a part. He says, what's my part number? I told him the part number. He sold it. No training, no questions. That's how we want to make every part in the dealership. Now, I know time is short. Sarah, how many minutes do I have
You've
left?
got 4 minutes left.
All right, good.
You're doing good. Yeah, you're moving through this. This is great.
Yeah, well, see, I want to show you all the customer order, right? I mean, because a lot of the details are there, but you guys want to see the unique parts. If I want to do a service job, I tap service, and it's going to invite me to put in any kind of information. So let's just say I'm going to look up this customer by phone number, because I forget names. That's a lot less offensive to forget a phone number than a first and last name, like I want to do. If I type in, say, my phone number, you can see it's going to pull in Jonathan Aguero, that's me. And because the system has a tendency to walk you and guide you through things, you're going to see that it says there's 71 active orders open for this customer already. That's because it's a demo. If we did want to go into one of those, we just hit use. Today, we're going to hit skip to create a totally fresh work order. Now, this work order, back to our fast food sort of drive-through story, if we want to have someone out on the lot, tablet in their hand, and we want them to be able to do all this write-up right out in front of the customer, taking photos of damage, getting approval on an iPad, we certainly can. If you can read top to bottom, left to right, you can do a service job with BlackPurl. We first select what's our unit that we're selling, or that we're servicing in this case. Then we say who's paying for it. If it's a warranty job, then the screen expands with other fields like your deductible, your provider, and your claim tracking. What's great about that is that if I go to, say, put in a concern, I can put in multiple ones. I can also add multiple service jobs. This is service job 1. We can have 10 of them on the same order for 1. Once I'm done filling this out, let's say today it's just a customer pay job, then I can move on to actually filling out my work order. I can easily add both labor lines and part lines to this work order. It can do that by scanning, it can do that by entering. It's just really easy, right? I can also view related parts, alternates, supersession relationships, that sort of thing. So it's got a lot of power, but it's just a really easy to use interface. And because time's short, I won't add the labor codes, but there's also labor and kits that we can add. Kits would be like if I just want to have a preset price for a belt replacement on a mower, that would be a great example. Once I'm done with that, I can hit Get Customer Approval, and it'll pop up with a tablet-friendly screen, where not only can the customer see, okay, what am I approving, right? But it's going to show me, am I verbally getting approval from the customer? Am I printing and signing? Or do I want to flip that tablet around and have them sign with their finger right on the work order, that sort of thing. I hit Save, and from there, I can email it over to them in 2 more taps. So super easy. You see, that whole experience is very easy to accomplish. If I want to send it back to the shop, not only can I print out a work order, but I can also assign a technician quickly and easily. I can track their time, I can secure their time with a PIN number, and it's extremely easy, easier than any other system I've ever seen, to track your technician's time. Of course, you can enter notes, print out a wonderful looking work order, but as we're short on time, I'll show you a couple of things. Workshop dashboard. This is an example of something BlackPurl does that no other system does. It shows you on a castable tab, I can put a television in my shop, and I can cast up a stats of all my current working jobs. I can do this in the service manager's office. I don't need to do it at all, but if I want, there's this advanced functionality. What it does is it tracks how are we working with our estimate. Are we hitting our estimates or not? Right? There's a lot of other reporting. There's a tablet-friendly job queue if you're a technician. There's a simple service schedule. And there's really wonderful and easy to access inventory reports. Inventory reports can be customized to show all of your units, or like this one I'm bringing up, just those from a particular manufacturer. Right? In this case, I actually went a step further and I added what's called a tag. When I put in units, I tag them with 0 turn if they're a 0 turn mower or a chainsaw or whatever. And I can then see only that inventory. So BlackPurl, in addition to being extremely easy to use, dealing with customers, it also has the back-end power that you would expect from a traditional system. With that, I mean, that's the main gist of it.
All right, and you got it right on time there, Jonathan. So very good, very good.
Thanks.
All right, so before we open it up for questions that people may have, I want to ask one more big question from you. So in what way specifically is your team making dealers' lives easier right now?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I have my notes and I have memorized them, so I'm just going to speak from my kind of heart on this one. Specific ways that we're making dealers' lives easier is the biggest one that comes to mind from this show specifically, so far talking with people, is that right now the business is growing. They want to grow as fast as possible and efficiently as possible. And without an easy-to-use system to organize everything in the shop, they can't grow. That's one of the big situations. If they believe, if they put in really simple tools, my wife and I built a goat shed last summer, and it gave me a really big appreciation.
That sounds like a big project that we need to get into later. Yeah,
yeah, it was really intense. It gave me an unprecedented appreciation for simple tools. It allowed us, where we had simple tools, we got the job done faster. And that's what I believe we're doing for dealers. We're just overall, to condense all of the details into one thing is we're making it easier to take care of customers quickly and with a really good experience.
So Jonathan, again, before we open up for questions, one thing that you and I have had a few conversations about are some of the tools that you are implementing because we have come begging you to implement them. And I know that they're coming up on rollouts here in the next week to 2 weeks. So would you take a minute and just walk through the tools that you guys are implementing that we've asked you to implement and just to help everyone understand what those are and what those look like specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of them came out, I think, on Monday. And this was a recommendation that you and your team made that was really welcome. And it was, hey, for this business, when we're ordering units, again, this is just a really nuanced, detailed thing, but when you're ordering a unit into the system, if it's a generator, you don't want to put in 50 generators one at a time.
Would you all agree? We do not want to put in 50 generators all at one time. All right.
Right. So that, you know, or mowers or whatever it is. And so now we've made it really easy to add 50 units at a time. We've made it easier than what I think is in your system. That's the first big one that came out this week. That's already active and available. The second one is that you've asked us to do is actually going to be more complex and more complex on the back end, simple in the front end. It's going to be better than what you asked for. So what you asked us is, hey, BlackPurl, you've got 3 price escalator sort of matrix pricing tiers. We want at least 11. We recommend dealers have a lot. So we said, okay, we're going to do basically 15. You can have up to 15 escalator tiers. But in addition to that, the reason that, it's a few weeks delayed, right? Initially, we wanted to have it by the show, but now we've got a video of it, but we don't have it out. We decided to make it really complex. So now you can make, if you're one of those dealers who wants, simplicity but a ton of power, you can set your parts pricing differently by the service department or the parts department. That's another recommendation that we covered in this update that you guys have previously asked for. Second thing that we've done is made it so you can stack and combine parts pricing to really customize parts pricing to your heart's content. So instead of just adding tiers, we revamped all the parts pricing to make it the most flexible that we've ever seen.
Well, and again, one of the things as you're talking about that again, we appreciate you doing is really making it so that dealers can maximize the matrix pricing on that, because there is so much money if we can matrix, and again, I know Bob was talking about that earlier today, about how we can really take some extra profit out of that, and what you guys have done and are taking and running with to make that happen for the dealers in this room is very great, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the recommendations. There's more to come, and everyone has very much value.
Good. Again, one of the things that is a cornerstone to any software that we recommend is the responsiveness to you as dealers. So when you have a problem, if the software company doesn't realize that you do not have hours and hours to be responded to, instead you've got just a few minutes because you have a customer sitting there, you have an issue in front of you. That's one of the things when we first start visiting with software companies that's important to us. And it's one thing that you do well, and we do appreciate that about you.
No, it really is a win for everyone because since you suggest we implement that, we've been getting feedback, and everyone in the industry agrees with what you said, of course. So it's really been valuable. There's one more thing I should mention. I totally forgot. How we're making dealers' lives easier is also, I will say, if you need help, instead of just leaving a voicemail, you hit this little chat icon, and it has all these walkthroughs that'll guide you into how to do things, like how to add deal financing to a deal. It'll walk you through. If that's not enough and you need help, and you don't have the phone support, then you can just chat to someone right here. So I just wanted to mention that to you as my last, 10-second add-on to that is when you're saying being responsive, we've taken it very seriously and put a chat feature into our platform.
Is there a question? Yes.
Yeah, just a quick one. Does the 4-week setup time include ingesting historical data from another dealer management software? And how confident do you feel about being able to execute that process without experiencing data loss?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What I'll say is this: yes, it does include importing all of their data. When it comes to historical data, there are different things people need. One of the key things that I would want to clarify, sometimes when people say historical data, what they mean is to recreate every invoice line item by line item that was in my old system, put it in the new system. And that is something that we only do for select platforms. So please feel free to see me afterward to discuss that in detail. The rest of it, like what customers do I have? What's my inventory? What units do my customers own? And what's the hours on those units? That sort of thing. That is all effortless, and it's part of almost every activation we do. If you are from a system where we don't support recreating all the historical invoices in BlackPurl, then there are some really easy cloud-based solutions that you can use that we can guide you into, where you can access all your historical data right alongside BlackPurl, even though not within it. Great question.
Yep.
Did that answer it? Yeah.
It did, yeah. I'll see you after.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're cloud-based, and if you're using Google Chrome, to say that's a lot of folks use, and they make a change in Google Chrome, how does that affect your? I'm not a computer guy, but your interaction with that is there? Because you guys have to make some changes on the backside to be able to make that function. How long has this been out, and have you run into that so far? And what is the downtime or the uptime that you guys can do when they make that update, and you can still function your software?
It's a really good question. And for anyone who didn't hear the question is, I'm using the Google Chrome browser. If Google makes an update to the core of that software, does that prevent you from using BlackPurl until there's an update? And the answer is, it's never happened. Right? It's a good question, but it has never happened. It never will happen. This is because if Google publishes any changes it's going to make to a browser like Chrome ahead of time, and we run on what's called the Salesforce.com database. So when you're doing with BlackPurl, when you're using BlackPurl, you're not connecting it to our service in Austin, Texas. You are connecting it to Salesforce.com's content delivery network, which has data centers all over the world and is used by about 150,000 businesses. So they react far in advance, and it has never gone down from the Google Chrome update. Let's just say though that theoretically what happened, you can use Safari on the Mac, and you can use other products like Microsoft Edge as well.
Are price files included, or is there a conversion charge for each price file update?
Great question. Price files are generally included. Each of the packages has a set number of price files that we will automatically keep up to date. There is no fee for the updates ongoing. It's just how many slots do you have? And right now at GIE, there's an extra 10, so it comes with 15. So that's 15 vendors that we will keep all their parts pricing up to date all the time for you without any extra charge. Beyond that, there is a $27 charge per month. Thank you.
Cassandra, did you have a question?
Yeah, whenever you're creating a work order and it's asking you, who's paying for said service, is there a way, like what if half of it's paid by a warranty and, there's a bunch of parts and labor not covered by warranty? Do you have to create a new service item, or can you do it all on one page?
You can do it all on one page. Did you see how it's a tile-based system where there's a certain, maybe this is one that's fast enough for me to just briefly show. See
Yeah, I was going to say, Jonathan, why don't you walk us through this for just a second? We have
Sure.
just a few minutes, yeah, so
Okay.
go ahead and walk us through this real quick.
Yeah, this is a really good one. It's one that BlackPurl does effortlessly. This is a really good example of some of why it's my favorite feature. When I go to say this service job, let's just name it to make things really easy. Let's just say this is customer pay, right? And I discover some things that are warranty. Let's just say it's on my smart mower. I put a particular concern in, and you're going to see I've chosen customer pay on this one. What's easiest to do is you just minimize that service job, you hit add another service job, and then on the new service job, you're going to make sure it's on the correct one. You just choose warranty in this case. And now I have two service jobs on the same order number. One of them is customer pay. Oh, this one I didn't name. This one is warranty.
Can I see a form of the work order?
Like if you print
Can you show like a screen? What would the work order right now look like for that?
Oh, yeah, good question. Well, right now, there's hardly anything on it, but let's...
See, I just want to see what it looks
100%, yeah, let's just
How would it
add
break
in
out
that.
the warranty job?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just say we have one line item on here, and then maybe a note. We can also mark our notes as declined work, by the way, just for CYA purposes, if someone declines a safety-related item. If we wanted to print out a quote, we could easily do that for either one or both of the jobs. Let's just say it's I think the warranty one is the one I just did. So for simplicity's sake, let's hit print. It's going to show us, before we do our final invoice, it's going to leave off the logo, right? When we do our final invoice, we'll have a nice logo. It's just going to have the customer, the unit, it's going to have the job title, it's going to have the notes for the customer, and a place to write.
Now, what's that screen? What is that? Is that the invoice?
That is essentially, you can think of it as a job worksheet. What I'll do is I'll show you an invoice preview as well, slightly different format. So
I guess
if
what I
you're in
was-
the middle of a job, you probably want to quote someone right first, but
I was asking more for like, what would the mechanic actually be? Like a work order version of what you just
oh, I
did.
see what you're saying. Yeah, so there's two ways people use it, right? They use it with a printed out report. I'll just show you. It really wouldn't be anything you saw. A job worksheet. If I go here, I hit print on this, I can put it in a clear plastic envelope, pass it back to my text. Easy. If I go to print, just to give you a sense of scope, it's just going to look like this, right? It's going to show, what you see here is it's going to show all the detailed information that's going to have a good place for the text notes. Then it's going to go to the next job, if that makes sense. Did I answer your question?
And it's both problems on that. I can't, it's the warranty and the customer pay on that one work order.
Yeah, it's really hard to see, I know, but if I look right here at the customer pay job, that will be named in a committee of anything. If I look at that one, it's going to have concern, cause, correction, etc. Then the second job is this one, separated by that big line. So you could print them out separately, give one to one mechanic, one to another, or you could do them combined like I've done. Okay, great question. Do we have time for any more?
We've got time for one more question, so do you want to first?
Yeah, could the technician modify these work orders completely digitally, like with
without having to print out and write.
100%.
And then could he then route it to another stakeholder, like to the service manager when he's done with it, all within the digital realm?
Yeah, there's a lot of dealerships that do that. What's great is that if I'm a technician, let's just say I'm Kathy Wilson right now, what I can easily do is I can pull up all these service jobs that are assigned to me. Of course, she has more assigned to her than most would. All she has to do to clock on and off is hit play and stop. And if she wants to use it totally digitally, she can just use her job queue as her work list and then pull up in a separate BlackPurl tab the actual work order in question. From there, she can do all this right on her iPad or her computer. And when she's done, she can change the status over to complete, which would then show up even on the front page for the service manager that shows how many completed jobs are left to go out.
Great, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, these are great questions. Thank you, guys.
All right, very good. Okay, let's see, we have, well, go ahead with your last question.
Is it capable of standing alone without QuickBooks on profit and loss, and can it be narrowed down to?
Great question. So if you change the question slightly, the answer is yes. The answer is no. It does not have standalone profit and loss or financial reporting functionality. What we decided to do is our old system, DealerView, had built-in proprietary accounting, and accountants had to be trained to use it. This time around, we knew we wanted it to be all touch-friendly and cloud-based, so we decided we'd integrate with the world's top cloud-based accounting platforms, one of which is QuickBooks Online, the other which is Xero. So if you don't want QuickBooks, that's where my yes comes in. You can use another one of the top platforms in the world.
Very good. Well, Jonathan, you are at booth 2008, and that's just straight, give people directions so how they can find you after this.
Absolutely, thank you. So what I do to get to my booth is I go out these doors, and I go down toward the hardscape exhibition, toward where the food is, and then I turn right and go through that big gate. Then you only have to go forward about one row. It's the second row, and you just turn left. So it's basically straight that way.
He said towards the food. We all figured that one out, okay? Go on towards the food. All right, listen, these people have never missed the food in their life, so that's really how we're doing things here. All right, Jonathan, can we just give Jonathan a round of applause? Thank you for joining us. Find Jonathan, ask him more questions. I know he's a wealth of information on this. He's been in this industry and working with dealerships just like yourself for a really long time. So find him, ask some questions, and see if it may be the right solution for your dealership needs. All right, guys, thank you. To stay around, we will have another software session here in just